Morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'll call this meeting of the Planning and Economic Development Committee for Tuesday, April the 2nd, 2024 to order. Madam Clerk, can we do a roll call, please? Okay, thank you. Are there any declarations of interest, members of committee? Seeing none. Adoption of the minutes of our last meeting of March 5th, moved by Councillor Kerr, seconded by Councillor Pickles. Any comments, questions, or otherwise? All in favor? Opposed? That is carried. There are no statutory public meetings. Before we get into the presentation, I'm going to turn it over to our Commissioner. He has an introduction to do of a new staff member. Commissioner?
Well, yes, thank you. Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Chair Chapman. Today is a very exciting day for us. We have a new staff member who has started with us today, has been with the region as an employee for 31 minutes now. And for additional details, I'd like to turn it over to Simon Gill.
There we go. Thanks, Brian. Yes, committee and chair, I'm very pleased to introduce you to Maylene Broderick, who's just behind me to my right here. Maylene is a strategic thinker with exceptional business development expertise, bringing 13 years of executive level experience in international economic development and tourism at the regional, provincial, and federal levels, as well as private sector experience in finance. Originally from the GTA and with degrees in geography from UBC and urban planning from Toronto Metropolitan University, Maylene began her career as a planner in British Columbia. Her career grew over the course of an adventurous journey that took her to South Africa, where eventually she was appointed as the head of department and deputy director general for the Department of Economic Development, Environment and Tourism for the province of Limpopo, a department of 1,500 staff. In this role, Maylene successfully established 2 special economic zones and secured a number of new business investments for the province. Her most recent role was Chief Director of the Federal Department of Tourism for South Africa, where her departmental team of 46 were responsible for domestic tourism facilitation, enterprise development, and responsible and sustainable tourism. Prior to her roles in economic development, Maylene held more progressively senior roles at ABSA Corporate Business Bank, eventually being promoted to the executive role of Head of Public Sector Lending. Maylene also sits on the UNWTO Women Empowerment Committee and has led international women in tourism projects. So thank you very much and welcome to the region, Maylene.
Welcome, Maylene. On behalf of the committee, we're looking for your success as the Manager of Investment Attraction, so go get them, okay? Thank you. Presentations. Simon Gill, Director of Economic Development Tourism, is going to give us a presentation on investment attraction metrics, the annual activity report. Simon?
Great. Okay. Good morning again, Chair and members of committee. The Economic Development and Tourism Division has 3 sections, and we've recently completed the first year of activities from our new ECDEV strategy, Ready, Set, Future. The goal of Ready, Set, Future is to create an inclusive, prosperous future for all Durham residents. And so, to measure our overall success on that strategy, we'll be tracking relative growth in median household income. And I'll come back to that in the presentation. One of our 3 sections is the Business Development and Investment Attraction Team. This approximate 15-minute presentation today and the accompanying report in your package details the various activities of this business development team throughout the prior year, 2023. It also showcases some of the most significant commercial and industrial developments across the region last year. So a quick refresher to start. The business development team focused their efforts last year on 4 key areas of activity: generating and sourcing new leads for potential investment, responding to investment inquiries and delivering specialized services and advice to prospective investors, promoting the region among the real estate and development community, and cultivating relationships with community partners, post-secondary institutions, and senior government agencies to help them bring jobs to the region. Ready, Set, Future also highlighted some additional activities that our team will focus on: supporting the innovation community, growing key priority clusters, creating a network of the region's top businesses, and then working with our Durham Economic Development partners to help them grow and expand, and continuing to improve investment readiness. All of the work that the business development team does is in close partnership and collaboration with our economic development colleagues at the area municipalities. Without working together, it would be near impossible to successfully land an investment in the region. The Durham Economic Development Partnership, or DEDP, is a strong framework for effective investment attraction. With limited resources, we had to create a targeted approach through Ready, Set, Future to grow the region's economy across 5 key priority clusters that had the best potential for long-term, high-value job growth. And over the course of 2023, our business development team sought to source new investment in the areas of clean energy, electrified and autonomous vehicle technologies, the creative industries, applied digital technology, and agri-food. And I'm pleased to report that in 2023, Invest Durham serviced 229 leads or investment inquiries. And to give you the definition, leads are companies that have been pre-qualified as having an interest in creating a new physical presence in Canada. Due to the concentration of efforts by our team to source new investment, primarily from those 5 key priority clusters from the last slide, over 90% of leads were in fact in those clusters, and you can see the breakdown on the slide. It's further detailed in appendices 4 and 5 of the report if you're looking for more detail. The data on where interested investors originated shows that the work of Invest Durham was directly responsible for 90% of leads. Or that is to say in another way, that without the work of the team, 90% of those leads that came through the region would not have existed. They wouldn't have shown up at our doorstep otherwise. And to break them down even further, 66% of new leads came from Invest Durham's investment missions. 16% were generated through our promotional or our marketing efforts outside of missions, and that includes things like sponsoring or participating in events. 6% came from companies that directly contacted us through our website or through a landing page that we created. And then 2% originated from our membership in partnerships, such as the Ontario Manufacturing Communities Alliance, Ontario Food Cluster, and even the Durham Economic Development Partnership. And then, as you can calculate, 10% of the leads did not originate through our efforts, and those were from referrals or intermediaries. So we would get referred leads from Invest Ontario, Invest in Canada, Ministry of Economic Development, Job Creation and Trade, ISED, Foreign Trade Commissioner Service, and so on. In 2023, Invest Durham undertook 14 investment attraction missions with a dual purpose of, 1, meeting with prospective investors in their home market to tell them about how great Durham is as a place to invest, and 2, generally to promote the region's value proposition for investment in target geographies. And a summary, a list of all of these activities is included in Appendix 7 of the accompanying report. For the benefit of the chair and members of the committee, I'll spotlight a highlight on one of these 14 missions to showcase Autotech Detroit. Autotech Detroit, we attended we generated 10 direct investment leads in the automotive and clean tech space who are serious about investing in Canada. Some notable highlights include from that list of leads, the innovation division of a tier 1 American car manufacturer, a hydrogen production and green material development company, and the motor engineering and North American manufacturing division of another tier 1 Asian car manufacturer. Our participation at the show strengthened our relationships with our provincial partners. As you can see from the pictures, the Invest Durham booth was part of an Ontario pavilion that was largely organized by the province. So we had the opportunity to create and strengthen new relationships with our trade investment officers from the province that are stationed in Detroit and others at the federal level. We organized a reception with our partners and drew interest from prominent startups looking for partnership opportunities. And it also grew brand awareness or knowledge of what Durham has to offer among this sector that was also in attendance at the show. That in itself expands the benefit beyond just the 10 leads that were generated at the show. In addition to the investment missions, we participated in 22 industry events, conferences, or trade shows to identify and meet with prospective investors, develop new relationships, and strengthen existing relationships. Participation in this sense could have included sponsorship, co-organizing the event, developing content for the event, or even just participating in the event. A summary of all these activities is included in Appendix 8. But I'll highlight a few just for committee. We participated in OPG's SMR Supplier Day last year. This was an event where all prospective suppliers in the nuclear value chain for small modular reactors were convened by OPG, and we met with them to talk about opportunities for creating a physical presence here in Durham. We organized with our partners at the DEDP and the innovation community and the post-secondaries our attendance at Collision Conference. We organized and hosted the EVIQ event. And then lastly, Access.io. This is an event where we've been the primary sponsor and supporter since its inception, and it acts to bring new startup innovators together with investors and with the private sector. In 2023, the Business Development and Investment team hosted a total of 15 inbound delegations to the region. Details of these are included in Appendix 9. And we're finding, in fact, that these tours are becoming more and more frequent. I'll highlight one of these 15, and it's up on the screen today. It was our great pleasure to host about 30 members of Ontario's international team of trade investment officers from the Ministry of Economic Development, Job Creation and Trade here in Durham. A full-day itinerary was organized by Jacqueline Fato and Ivan Chung here in the room at the back on the investment team. Based in offices around the world, including cities like London, Paris, Mexico City, Rome, and across the US, this team works to raise Ontario's profile and build commercial relations in key global markets. Due in part to the work of the Durham Economic Development Partnership, in recent years to build our brand reputation and our awareness among this team, they selected Durham as only one of 2 locations in the province to spend a full day on a tour when they were here for their 1-week in-person training week. And these in-person training weeks are quite infrequent. So this was a very big deal for us at the region to showcase what we have to offer at the provincial level. We took the team to Ontario Tech University's ACE research facility, to Brilliant Catalyst, to Durham College's Whitby campus and Centre for Food. We took them to Ontario Power Generation's Darlington Energy Complex, where they met with the executive team at OPG responsible for all corporate procurement and for the SMR project. And I can attest, I was there for the whole day, and they were attentively listening to OPG's executive all the way up until the very end of the day and beyond the time that they had allotted for the tour. Up on the screen is a summary of the metrics. Some I've already mentioned. We serviced 229 leads. We created and delivered 21 personalized pitch proposals. These are detailed information to an investor at their request. We helped 35 companies identify prospective sites. We hosted 15 in-person delegations, 14 investment missions, and we attended or participated in 22 events. We also tracked the number of touch points that our team has with prospective investors. Speaking about investment successes, Invest Durham was successful in welcoming 3 new businesses in 2023, acting in either a leading or a supporting role. We were pleased to support the investments of Tessera Group, Innova in Canada, and a large electrical distributor that will be making their investment public a little bit later this year. And to highlight Tessera Group's investment, they're a turnkey automation provider for manufacturing and industrial sectors, establishing their new headquarters in Durham Region to accommodate 3 divisions and to house 95 new employees in the region. This opportunity was supported by the region's agriculture and rural economic development section. And the investor contacted us after they saw our signature sites document on our website, and they wanted more information. So earlier in this presentation, I mentioned that we measure our success through growth in median household income, as opposed to such other potential metrics as industrial tax assessment, for example, because there's more to creating an inclusive, prosperous future for everyone than just measuring square footage. But we do monitor growth in commercial and industrial tax assessment through new building permits. And across the region in 2023, the value of new building permits for non-residential, so that excludes any renovations or any upgrades, this is new building permits, was $765 million, creating an estimated total new floor space of over 4 million square feet. And of this total, the value of just commercial and industrial was estimated to be approximately $500 million in Durham. A breakdown of this new non-residential development activity can be found in Appendix 11, and they rely on estimates for Q3 and Q4, it's important to note, and that the final values will be reported once the final numbers are received from all of the area municipalities. So I recall some discussion at the last council meeting, about the ratio of tax assessment base between residential and non-residential, and there was some discussion around that. So it's important to note that last year we added 4 million square feet of industrial floor plate to the region. It just happens that we are also experiencing booming residential growth. The Durham Economic Development Partnership prepared a list on the screen of commercial and industrial investments across the region throughout 2023 to showcase to this committee the projects that we felt were economically significant. The list includes investments that the municipal economic development staff may not have had the opportunity to directly support. Each area municipality provided their approximately 5 most significant investments to showcase, and they're included in Appendix 11. And for those that we didn't have the opportunity to directly support, it could be that the investor went directly to a realtor to buy property, or they went directly to another level of government, and we just didn't have the opportunity to be looped in to help them. But it is important to note that for these cases, the Invest Durham or the economic development teams at the area municipalities' marketing activities to promote the region and to showcase our value proposition for development may very well have contributed to these investment decisions. And it's also important to note that the region's work to increase investment readiness through such things as servicing employment lands or bringing broadband infrastructure to unserviced areas may also have, in some cases, contributed to these investment decisions. So that concludes my presentation on the investment attraction statistics for 2023, and I would be more than happy to answer questions. Before I do, Chair, I'll just recognize that we have the whole business development and investment team in attendance at committee this morning. We have Jessica Reines, We have Nicole Gibson, Jacqueline Fato, and Ivan Chung unfortunately had a family commitment, so wasn't able to make it. And of course, we have our new manager. So thank you, Chair.
Thanks, Simon. Let's start with questions. Councillor Kerr.
I hit the speak button, so maybe that was it. I'm good. No, I'm good. And as soon as I see that red light, I am on. Okay. Through you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Simon. It's always a pleasure to hear the update from you and your team. Nice to see all the faces too in those pictures, including Brian got his in there as well. So this is good. A couple of questions. One, very first slide, you mentioned how 91% of the leads were in the 5 priority areas. Would you be, and that's great, and I know those are, could you be kind enough to elaborate on where the other 9% fit in? What kinds of things did we see in terms of other interests beyond the priority areas?
Yes, certainly through the chair. The breakdown of leads by industry is found in Appendix 4 of the report, which is page 30. The bulk are constituted by automotive, computer software, mechanical, industrial engineering, food and beverage, utilities. Chemicals had 4 inquiries. Telecommunications, construction, there were 3 inquiries. Investment banking, education management, entertainment was 1. Defense and aerospace, mining and metals, there was 1 inquiry. Building materials, 1 inquiry. 1 in hospitality.
Thank you. Thank you. It's very interesting. It's nice to see that diversity. So my second question, you may not be able to answer today, but one of the basis of scientific investigation, there are 3 components. One is compared to what? The other one is metrics, which you've quite clearly covered, and the other one is cost. So in the past, we have been, had been associated with Toronto Global. And I'm wondering if you would be kind enough to, if you can, compare what sort of results we saw through Toronto Global and at what cost, and what sort of results we're seeing through our in-house efforts and at what cost. Now, is that possible to do today, or could that be something that you could elaborate on in a report or a chat? But I'd be interested to know, and if Councillor Lee was here, he'd be interested as well.
Sure. Yes, through the chair. We took our annual membership fee from Toronto Global and we reallocated it and reinvested it in the business development activity. And I think it has borne out that we have achieved far greater volume of metrics and volume of work performed than certainly we had done before. And I can safely say, without doing detailed analysis, that the level of work that we had done to talk to companies about Durham Region, to participate in events, to showcase our value proposition, all would have been far in excess of the metrics that we would have gotten out of our prior investment as a member of that organization. I'm not able to give you an exact dollar per metric, but certainly could come back with that later.
Well, the volume of work and effort and results would certainly speak well to whatever that cost was. But if the cost was basically what we used to do plus what we used to divert to Toronto Global, and this is what the results are, and they're far greater, I think that would pretty much cover my cost question. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Very worthwhile effort. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Kerr. Councillor Shahid.
Thank you. Through you, Chair Chapman, I just wanted to ask you a couple of more questions. Simon, thank you for the presentation and the extensive work. You've definitely seen the hard work behind it. My question on this is that this is fantastic. The KPIs look really good. We are seeing real action. How does it get allocated in different municipalities, or you just work hard towards bringing Durham the business and it doesn't matter where it goes?
Through the chair, that's a great question. And I wanted to include it in the presentation, but I wanted to keep it relatively succinct. But the answer is that we have a very prescribed lead handling protocol. So in this slide that talks about the number of times that we serviced a request for site information. As soon as an investor says, yes, I'm interested, you successfully made the pitch, I'd like to look at some property. That triggers the lead handling protocol with our Durham Economic Development Partnership at the area municipalities. So we'll collect the site requirements, which may be size, topography, access to certain services, that kind of thing. And then we will send out an inquiry to all of 8 area municipalities, and we have a team that represents the 3 northern municipalities. So we perform the search for the 3 northern municipalities internally. But all 5 lakeshore municipalities have the opportunity to consider and submit sites to that investor. And then for all sites that meet the criteria of the investor, we will include them in the package that ultimately goes. And the investor then makes their decision. But as soon as they indicate an interest in any one particular site or any one particular area municipality, then we would immediately bring in our partners at that area municipal economic development team. They could bring their elected officials, their mayor, to meet with the investor at the site. So it would be very much a collaborative process, triggered as soon as the investor indicates an interest in a particular site.
Thank you. What would be through you, Chair Chapman, what would be the one most, prominent business that would come to you, or there is none and you look at everything? But it's like, for some reason, I see a lot of storage facilities opening all over Durham. Does that come through you, or is it organic wherever their salespeople are looking at whatever they're looking at? So what would be the one thing that is attracting to Durham?
Yeah, so you mentioned, through the chair, you mentioned, Councillor, storage facilities or distribution centers. They do very frequently reach out to ourselves or to area municipal economic development looking for support. You'll note from the priority clusters that distribution logistics is not listed as one of our priority clusters. So we are focusing our efforts in other areas, which is why we undertake missions to try and identify different types of investors, more high-tech jobs, higher education jobs, higher paying jobs are the types of investments that we're actively really working hard to try and source. But we will, of course, service any inbound inquiry looking to set up shop in the region, and those could include distribution centers.
I'm not asking for them, I'm just noticing that's all.
Right.
So what's next? Are you going to maintain this because this is going at a very nice level, or you're going to up your ante?
Through the chair, we are constantly looking at opportunities to do more, to do better, to improve our metrics. We will likely for this year set targets that are slightly higher than last year in certain respects because our team is growing it's fully staffed now, but we had a couple of vacancies last year that were potentially, that I think we have the ability to do bigger numbers this year. So yeah, we're looking forward to executing on Ready, Set, Future, which has another 4 years to go. There's a lot of great action items in that strategy related to business development and investment. So yeah, we'll be tracking our success against that strategy.
Thank you. I see you guys everywhere, so thank you so much for your hard work. Much appreciated. That'll be all, Chair.
Thank you. Simon, just on that point, I guess companies or developers or consultants that have dealt with, so somebody builds something in Whitby, for example, and they are coming back with a new client to build something else, chances are they might reach out to Whitby if they've had a good experience, or Oshawa, because we see some of them like Pantanoni in both Oshawa and Whitby reaching out more than coming through you, I think, with their second facilities, I would say.
Absolutely, Chair. And in fact, when an investor already knows where they want to locate or they have site-specific questions, those are best answered by the area municipality's economic development team. The types of service that Panatone and Broccolini get from the area municipal economic development team is unparalleled. It would be impossible for the region to be able to provide that.
So it's
type
more
of service.
cold touch. Right, thank you. Mayor Watton?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and through you to to Simon. I just have a couple of questions, please. On your slide, the investment successes, what defines actually success?
Through the chair, we have to measure whether or not our team directly resulted in investment and in an investment or not. So the definition of a win in a lead role is where our investment attraction team had a primary relationship with the investor, meaning we worked directly with them in the lead role and brought in others as needed. And where our support or advice or material assistance directly contributed to their decision to create an investment attraction, to create a physical presence. And I will admit it can be subjective, but we try and make it as objective as we possibly can. A win in a supporting role, similarly, we would have provided support. We would not maybe have been the primary contact. It might have been that they had a primary contact at the province or at an area municipality, but where we directly supported in helping them access, water and sewer servicing or information about workforce or, access to different training programs at a university or college that tips the scale in their decision to select Durham as a place to invest. If we cannot satisfy ourselves that we materially helped them make their investment decision, then they wouldn't be included as a win in our report. They would just be included as an investment success in the region from the slide. I can't remember what slide number, but it was the one where we listed all of the economically significant investments in the region last year.
Okay, so further to that, I know that there's a huge contrast between the southern municipalities, northern municipalities, and even between the northern municipalities themselves. The information that is shown on the investment successes, did that come from the area municipalities?
Through the chair, yes. So we wanted to showcase to committee a list of great investments to share some of the good news stories of these new businesses that had invested. And so we reached out to the area municipal economic development teams and then also representing the North, the rural and agriculture team at the region compiled that list. And many of them we didn't have the opportunity to directly support, or many of them may not have even had direct contact with an area municipality until the site plan stage.
Okay, and just one further. On the Skugog one, thank you for the Tessera, because I know you guys were quite involved in that. The Adamson System Engineering, and again, just trying to understand what this investment success means. They opened in 1983, and they did an expansion, but how does the economic development take credit for that?
Through the chair, that list, we are not taking credit for anything on that list.
Okay.
It is just to showcase to committee.
So basically my municipality has provided you with this.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to have to talk to them why Brock has certain things and we don't. No, I was just trying to understand how we arrived at that, and a great presentation, and thank you very much. I will have a couple of questions in the report, but for now, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Sounds like somebody in Skugog's got some splaining to do, eh?
I'm not going there right now.
Councillor Pickles.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Simon, for the presentation. There was a pie chart up there, and it had much of it was red, and I think the biggest category said 66%. And I don't know if that was the pie chart. I think was about leads, and that section might have been trade missions, and I'm not sure if it included trade shows. But what I'm interested in is what proportion of leads comes from work that we do. We prepare on a website, we prepare materials, we send it out and that sort of stuff, compared to leads we generate through getting out there, missions and trade shows, because it seems to me that it's more important, it's grown increasingly important to go out and shake the bushes, so to speak, to get your name out there and get those leads. So I'd be interested in hearing what you have to say about that.
Yes, through the chair. So Appendix 6 of the report, is that right? Lead generation. Yeah, Appendix 6 of the report breaks down the source of the leads. And by far, 2/3, the vast majority, were generated through investment attraction missions that the team undertook. So in this day and age, you know, I've said that I kind of had the same saying I've said for a while, but you know, you can put together the most beautiful pitch package in the world, and it can say all about how Durham Region is the absolute best place to invest, and how could you possibly consider going anywhere else? And it's the most compelling document you've ever prepared. But if you're not actually getting it in front of the decision makers or capturing their attention, which is very valuable and hard to capture, then ultimately this beautiful product is just sitting there talking to itself or sitting on the shelf. And that's really where our marketing section can come in and, you know, in a very targeted way, identify key audiences to put this document in front of. That might include paid promotion, might include events, sponsoring events, partnering to participate in events, and then bringing that material as a panelist and speaking directly to people. Or it might include things that the business development team might do, which include actually going out, having a service provider call companies and say, hey, are you considering making a new physical presence or expansion into Canada or North America in the next 1 or 2 years? And would you like to hear more about it? As soon as we get companies that say, yes, we would like to learn more about it, we'll cluster those so that we can be as efficient as possible with our resources and with our money. And we'll actually go travel to their market and speak to them, because it would be very, very difficult to get those companies to just hop on a plane and come here out of nowhere. So that's why it is also important to go travel to their home market and speak to them.
But I think you make a good point about hopping on a plane and coming over here, because what we're finding, and I'm interested to see if you're finding the same thing, that we're trying to get large food companies or energy companies or aerospace companies and that sort of thing. And we're hearing from some of these companies and saying, well, were you at that trade show? Were you that? Because if you're not, you're not on the map. And some of these companies haven't been to Toronto or haven't been to Canada before in that. So I'm curious as to what you're finding. Do we need to get out there more? Do we need to get out to trade shows? And the additional question I'll ask about that is, what sort of support do we find from the provincial and the federal governments in helping promote, you know, Canada, Ontario, and us as part of that? Are there grants? Are there subsidies? Is Canada, for example, getting a booth and then allowing 3 or 4 regions to be at the booth, or do we have to pay our way?
Yeah, through the chair. I'll try and answer all of your questions. The province does organize pavilions or booths and then invites others to participate. Sometimes they'll have businesses, sometimes they'll ask regions or municipalities to participate. And definitely it benefits us to go and do that. When we are exhibiting in a booth or going to a trade show and setting up a booth, that is really great for awareness generation of what we have to offer, the fact that Durham exists, right? Because many attendees at a trade show in another country will not even know Durham exists. They'll know Canada exists, and that may be a place they want to invest. But just showing up there is a huge part of investment attraction to get it in their minds that Durham, oh, I should go Google Durham or go to their website. But in addition to that, it's the actual setting up of meetings and then going to the show to meet with companies one after the other at their booths. That will start to create much more solid, definable projects, definable investment projects. We do find that the federal and the provincial government are investing a lot of money into economic development, and we're doing our best to create relationships with those teams so that we can benefit. And it really does take a lot of staff time and effort to create and maintain those relationships. But if we do it right and if we do it well, then leads that are created by a federal trade commissioner that end up dropping on the desk of someone at Invest Ontario, then that person will think, oh, you know what? Durham's the clean energy capital of Canada. We should see if they're interested in Durham. So it's a whole network of effort and relationships that need to be maintained and built.
So you've kind of hit on where Mr. Chair is going to go with my last question, and that is if we're participating at a Ontario pavilion or a Canada pavilion, I suppose there's some benefit in spending 2.5 days with your federal provincial representatives, bending their ear, and they're going to remember you the next time someone walks into their office looking to locate into Ontario and Canada, and they're going to remember you bending their ear and handing them a nice glossy package, and you might be first on their list of redirecting leads. So there's value in being there, not only to meet the prospective businesses, but also the federal and provincial government that do a lot of work on our behalf and might assist us in that way. Do you find that? Has that generated leads that you might not otherwise had?
Yes, Mr. Chair and Councillor, absolutely. This is some of the most important relationships that we have are with our provincial and our federal counterparts because they have quite significant deal flow.
Okay, well, we want to keep on their mind. Thank you.
Thanks, Simon. That looks like all the questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We have no delegations. We have 2 reports from planning. First one is 2024 P8. It's an application to amend the Durham official plan to permit the severance of a farm dwelling. Can I have a mover on that, please? Mayor Watton, seconded by Chair Henry. Any questions or comments? All in favor? Opposed? That is carried. The next one is 2024 P9. It's a nomination to the Board of Directors of the Greater Toronto Airports Authority. I have the recommendation moved. Councillor Kerr, seconded by Councillor Shaid. Any comments or otherwise? All in favor? Opposed? That is carried. We have 2 reports on economic development. Report 2024 EDT 6, Gather at the Farm 2023 Agri-Food Marketing Campaign. I have a mover, please. Moved by Mayor Watton, seconded by Councillor Kerr. Comments or questions? Mayor Watton?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just one quick question. With the Gather at the Farm marketing program and that, do we collect the results of that to measure the successes there?
Simon?
Yeah, Chair, I will maybe defer this to my colleagues, Ms. Talling or Ms. Severs, who may have the answer to that, but we may have to get back to you depending. Jackie?
Thank you for the question through the chair. I believe the question is, do we collect those results to compare them year over year, or is that?
Well, yes, if we're trying to direct people to the gathering at the farm, and I mean, we have a great marketing program, but do we know if people actually go? And do we get those results?
Through the chair, we do have limitations in terms of collecting physical presence versus year over year at farm, on-farm visits. This year, the campaign was a reimagined version of Gates Open. At Gates Open, we did track visitation because there was ticket sales, which gave us a more clear picture, and it was over a weekend. This past year, Gather at the Farm was over the space of a month, the full month of October, and it was a digital campaign that was not related to ticketed events on farms. The change was a result of discussions between Durham Farm Fresh and our team in terms of what would be the most effective and achievable campaign for this year. So in short, the answer is no. We don't have a clear picture of the visitation at the farm. And unfortunately, this year as well, we had a change in how our website is tracking clicks. So in previous years, we were able to see if someone landed on a page of our website where they traveled to next. Unfortunately, this year, that has been a change. So while we know that we had 1 million digital impressions, as well as the thousands of impressions from print ads and 10,000 clicks from our website off 2 other farm websites to learn more. We can't specify which farm websites they clicked onto. So we know we drove 10,000 clicks from our website to individual farm operators to learn more about their events. And that's as far as we're able to pursue that consumer journey.
So have you considered asking the farms to help track that? If you're promoting them?
Through the chair, we have had conversations. We do talk with the farms and Durham Farm Fresh about the success. It is anecdotal. They didn't have a specific counts year over year because this is the first year of this full month campaign. The anecdotal feedback was they felt it was successful and want to keep going with this approach for this year. So while I would personally prefer have stronger data-driven decisions, the anecdotal feedback from the farms and Durham Farm Fresh is that they felt it was a success and would like to continue it again.
If I might, I'd like to suggest we consider how we could track those results.
Yeah,
So,
through the
like, moving forward, not.
Yeah, through the chair, we would be able to use a geofence approach, which would be able to track attendance by cell phone data. There is a cost associated with that, but essentially it builds a digital fence around the farm areas that we're promoting and tracks cell phones movement into or out from those defined areas. So we would be able to do that as an approach to track the success. There is ways of using that data in the future as well. We'd be able to, I guess, retarget those phones and deliver them other ads if we felt that that was of strategic importance to know.
Thank you, that's all my questions.
So Simon, can you and your team look into that further, as the mayor suggested, and see what we can come up with, not just what Jackie said about the geofencing, but anything else, and see if we can get broader statistics, I guess, would be what we're looking for?
Yeah, happy to.
Great, thank you. So on the recommendation, it's received for information. All in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Report 2024 EDT7, Investment Attractions Annual Activity Report. Moved by Councillor Pickles, seconded by Mayor Watton. Any comments, questions? Okay, your mic's still on there,
I see
Mayor.
that.
Go ahead.
Perhaps. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a quick question. I'm not sure which attachment it is, but where it shows all the leads, and many, for example, like there's 5 of the same that say lead, 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 lead. What generates that? I'm trying to find it so I can be more specific.
Yeah, Chair. So the appendix, I believe you're referencing is Appendix 2. And could you clarify the question? Was your question
Yeah,
regarding?
just let me get to it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, I need page 2 though, appendix 2. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I still have to get to it though. That's not my page 41. So,
Page 12 of 54, top, 40, 84 on the bottom.
yeah, thank you.
The report page is 12 of 54.
I'm going to take it for a sec. Thank you. Thank you. So, for example, it says Battery Energy Company, Commercial and Industrial Market Research, future
So items 26, 27.
25, 26, 27, 28.
Okay, on page 41 of 84 or 13 of 54, whichever you have there, the report is 13 of 54 and
Thank you,
the
whoever
agenda
gave
is
that to me.
41 of 84.
I understand. Yes, thank you, Chair. The description under the column with the title investment lead is written by our team as a general description of either the investor or the project that they're planning to construct. And in some cases, it's a very similar company because we would have met them at the same trade show or the same conference. So for example, if we were going to Autotech Detroit, we may have met with 3 battery manufacturers in a row who were interested in, and they may be completely different companies from different parts of the world. We may enter the same description in that column. And for obvious confidentiality reasons, we wouldn't want to be putting the company name there. So it's more of just a general description, and in some cases, they are the same description as other investments. But I can confirm that each of those are separate and unique companies.
That's what I was wondering. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That's all my questions, Mr.
Great.
Chair.
Any others? Then on the recommendation to receive for information, all in favor? Opposed? That is carried. We will move on to advisory committees. The Durham Active Transportation Committee, June Bike Month. Have a mover? Councillor Kerr, seconded by Councillor Shaid. One question for you, Mr. Chair, and the resolution says, now therefore be it resolved that Durham Active Transportation Committee requests Regional Council's support of the planned Regional Bike Month activities and proclaim the month of June as Bike Month in the region of Durham. If that passes like that, is that enough authority with council for you to declare it June as Bike Month? Okay. Any questions or comments? Just wanted to confirm that we didn't need an amendment to give the chair any more authority to declare it that once it goes through council. So all in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Next, we have the Durham Agriculture Advisory Committee Stormwater Management Fees. Yeah, you have an amendment, Councillor Pickles, so you want to move the report or the resolution first?
I was going to move it with an amendment that.
Sure.
And that this resolution be circulated to Durham area municipalities for their information. So that would be moved with an amendment.
Okay. Seconded by Mayor Watton. So it's the recommendation from the committee, but the amendment with it is that the lower tier, basically the area municipalities, be informed of this resolution because they're the ones that look after the stormwater management. Any other questions or comments on that, Chair?
Thank you, Chair. Just to water management on farms. It is key to the success of farms. I'm wondering if we have any idea if the farmers that use either ponds or wetlands for stormwater management get credit for the carbon capture that occurs on the farm.
Who might know that, Commissioner?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I don't know off the top. I doubt it, but I will find out.
Chair, you know, farmers are stewards of the land and they make things work, and often are, get a lot of grief for what they do, but they don't get any congratulations for what they really do, and that is they manage their lands. I think it's unfair to put pressures on farmers. Carbon is in the news, and not give them the ability to capture and use the carbon credits from good management, whether it be growing crops or whether it's from managing water that creates habitats for wildlife. So I'm absolutely in support of this, but I think that, Chair, I think we probably should maybe take a position. I've not seen one yet, but maybe in the past there was, but maybe committee could give some consideration to petitioning the federal level of government, asking that farmers, because I'm sure that they measure carbon credits on federally owned lands. There must be a formula there for.
So, yeah, I would suggest on that is that we'll have the commissioner find that information out, because maybe it is, I doubt it, but maybe there is a formula already, and then we can just congratulate finally somebody doing the right thing. If there isn't, then we can come up with a better position. We'll leave that in the, if you're okay, we'll leave that in the hands of the commissioner.
Yes, and just ask that significantly federally owned lands, if
Yep.
there is a formula for capturing carbon on those lands, because I'm sure the federal government would take credit for that. But we really need to thank our farmers for being great stewards and for what they do.
I agree, and that's why this motion about the stormwater management fees, because they manage stormwater on their property when they're truly farming. And the commissioner will take direction, and because he needs to talk to the climate folks and a whole pile of others, and he'll come back and give us a idea of yes or no, and perhaps with a recommendation of a motion that we might want to take from this committee to council. Is that fair, Chair?
That is fair. Thank you for.
Thank you.
your
Okay,
leadership,
Commissioner?
Chair.
So on the motion as amended, yes, sorry? Oh, sorry, it wasn't. Councillor Kerr. go
Yeah,
ahead.
thank you. Just building on Chair Henry's comments, it's my pleasure to be my first term on CLOCA. And based on this, I learned that farms get a 75% tax subsidy for being a farm. And there is an available 75% tax subsidy if they have up to and including a 10-acre woodlot. But that's not workable for a working farm to give up 10 acres of working arable land to put in a woodlot. However, based on building on Chair Henry's point, if they do have such wetland and water management and carbon capture on the farm, I think it's a very good idea to examine what kind of additional subsidies a working farm might get to offset the negative impacts of increasing carbon tax. So maybe there's a trade-off there, and I think it's a very good thing to look into. Thank you.
One thing you have to be careful of is the tax reduction that you're talking about for farming is property taxes, right? And property taxes are the region and the area
Well, we
municipalities.
still keep those.
No, I realize that.
we
So,
still give 'em
what
those,
I'm
yeah.
saying is that we're giving a 75% reduction. This is something that we want either the province and/or the federal government
Correct.
to help our farmers with. We're
Correct.
already helping our farmers quite a bit, actually. So.
And good thing too. I'm
Yes.
just saying this is a little extra bit, seeing as all the other stuff that's been dumped on the farmers, and expect them to keep their head above, or her to keep her head above water, so thank you very much.
And it's nice to see that you're paying attention at CLOCA meetings. Councillor Shaid.
Thank you so much. Through you, Chair. We often hear from Mr. Zach Cahoon and about this, and we also heard it at our town council when the farmers came to present. So I will be supporting it, Chair Henry, wholeheartedly, because I think this is the time. This is the only way that we can reduce some sort of food insecurity and the pricing of food, and then we can definitely share that and champion that cost. But until they're not getting any subsidies of what the hard work that they provide and truck all the food everywhere, we won't be able to get anywhere. So I would be supporting it 100%. Thank you.
Yeah, we had Mr. Schillings, I think, is making the rounds this year on behalf of the Agricultural Committee, and we heard him at Oshawa too. So, yeah, there's no motion on what the chair has done. This is just direction, and we'll leave it to the commissioner to come back with the appropriate for this committee to consider. I think from past decisions that this committee has made and motions that we've made, that we certainly are showing our support to the farmers, and anything else we can do to help the agricultural business in Durham region, we certainly will take that up. And I know the staff that work in that area are so inclined to do that, to be that way as well. So on the resolution as amended, all in favor? Opposed? And then that is carried. Thank you. Is there any other business? Motion to adjourn, Chair Henry, seconded by Councillor Shaid. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you, folks.